game, but Refs and Savage are basically taken out and Dreda had to clutch. Tapix is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down, might even have the reboot cards, so it's gonna be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Riskguard, and Dreda, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taken out by the storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Riskguard and Dreda and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick Anas and Thomas HC we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for game 8.
A game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game. But Andretta, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop. In terms of end game, this is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulex this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and 4ZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting them within striking distance of a championship. Nate, 4ZR last season, of course, on the road for redemption, didn't really make it into the grand finals. We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base. Gonna be praying and hoping that it pulls their way, but we'll have chances to move no matter what happens. Wakey down below, there's trouble inside a little bit of those lower tier boxes, lower ground bases. People are going down left and right. Exterio's taken out. Alpha having trouble, and then taken out by Noah Riley as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Snacey brought back his teammates. Snacey brought back that team. And wasn't he all by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, Excuse was a solo. I guess they brought everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Run. Okay, they're not.
Big reboot came through, but no matter, they were coming from the south side. They must be exactly where Noah Riley is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation, and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross that ground. Noah Riley will have to go around. And Alex says, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst. Yes, they'll actually end up playing out the full game. That's clutch from X Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Sapphic and Siberia haven't moved just yet, and they have the longest and toughest rotation with a team beside them.
They've been coming from Coral Castle, and for them to actually finish day 1 in around 15th place is already a feat in itself. They solved the puzzle of Coral Castle. For the longest time in the FNCS, no trio has really found success. They found some success. Just to paint a picture, last season, Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out here. If Sapphic and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the Deal have become a height team. They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason
I've never heard
over 8 hours after sleeping learned patience? That's insane.
That's a
they really want to win. They want to come back. Remember, Sancho, first and then down to 16th after 6 games. They're trying to climb their way back up. They're 10th place right now on the cumulative leaderboard. They're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way: Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they'll try to do it once again, but they have an entire Titan to take down. It's not free for them. They have to get through Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this? Trulex does have a pepper here. Are they going to go ahead there, look for the chop? We've seen Trulex's trio get chopped before in a phenomenal way. by Vidil's trio themselves. In game one, they chopped them out, and they were able to take height and the victory royale. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, Shio.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bow from Trulex. They're screwing from the backside. There's so many teams moving over. This is huge for Trulex if he goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Queasy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulex. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory. Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day one. Can they actually end up finishing the game, though?
They need the resources to hold on. Day one, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept losing it here around zone 7. So they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andelix and Stacey, but they already lost a trio mate. So I don't know if they're going to take it here. So that focus has to be down on the low ground. Savage and Dreda, Revscard, they have an opportunity to get the victory out. The question is, they're down the soft match. So if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 victory out again.
Ooh, what a risky rotate. They go all the way in, no builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shots from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body, fully eliminated. The mats are back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps, can't do anything, can't defend himself. Twos with the shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Revscard finds him. They're both going to be together. Revscard must have the builds. They're in old mats. It's looking good. Payson down in the feed. Savage, Revscard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
The materials are running low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is getting in second place. 4ZR and Tayson in fourth place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height, pushes them down to the low ground. It's a very dangerous layer to be on. 4ZR with 3 eliminations, 12 HP, knocks Mr. Savage, stops that trio right in their tracks. 4ZR on the track for redemption here, is barely alive, and is going to have to go to the medkit play and hopefully catch someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. 4ZR keeps his chances alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy, though, on height. They're still alive, and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. It's somewhat of a bounce back zone, so they don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking good, 2-5 so far. Floki, though, is still on low ground. A very dangerous trio to go head-to-head with in the end game. Hadi alive, sniped down by Lanoof. So many different teams down below that are so good at these high-pressure situations. Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky have a big task ahead of them, and another misthink that might cost them a lot in the end game.
This is where it gets sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulex has 2 floppers, 2 medkits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement Deceptos are still there. Waze is already going in for the medkit. He's coming in from the backside of Storm. Waze against Kiriachi, gets knocked, and that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement, they don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement, hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from the mistakes yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex has the insurance. He has to go below. I think it might be the last one left here. One more flopper, and these guys are still in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They win it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs to see like, yeah, man, we had height this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shio.
Yeah, but 4ZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. It's uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we miss.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look high ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's going to be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're going to show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true for indeed reason Vidil no Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game 2 again. Taking height so early in that 5th zone, they committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on height ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory royales a lot of the time, and that was the real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trulex historically throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high ground. This season, right, Juriki's been a spark for them. You saw Juriki when they were taking out, he took the Germans down, right? No O'Reilly, they wiped them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Fortnite's taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to 1, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground, setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things we want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HG's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit in his inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice, again, after harvesting that, 2 builds. 2 builds remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down, because he has absolutely 0 here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how so now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge made on the right hand side here is beautiful, because he has a right hand peek on Anas who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all, and this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP and the elimination goes through. And then we said playing on high ground with the med kit too far to the back with not enough time, and unfortunately he ends up being eliminated. But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Gut-wrenching finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings, though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Jetta and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit, and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, you know, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Looking like it could be not only them in the running, though, because Refsguard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. Taking Nate too. Look at the difference between first all the way down to third, and we can't count out Ken Janus, Chapix too. Look at how good all these players are in the top 4 with 4 games of remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition. And I'm super down. But once again, man, who's in this trio? I don't understand why they're allowing them to be up there to stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now, and it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know, it's game time. Jumping back into the action, game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of the series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulex, Queasy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You gotta think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast has said, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments, but so far, Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are flipping that table, but then on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day one, they had high all the time. And they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected. Because that's all the time they have been happening is they would lose it on the high coming from a flank with just normal builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launchers coming up from there to take it away from you. But we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already the save versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. When they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here. Revscar getting knocked in mid-air. This is where it gets dangerous because, as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. You saw it in Season 4 when Mongo's Trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in Season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day one. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elo, Kras, and Hadi and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indreda's Trio.
They're hunting for Revscar too. I don't think Indreda's going to be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a great drill, so the stream match might be coming behind. So Hadi's Trio is actually looking directly under it. They understand how far Revs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map. I'd have to imagine that'd be the retail goal or Shaggy Clips. There's so many big fights going down in retail as well. So I would say sad to watch because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's he's fighting it out. Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side. But as we look at Craggy, it might be a two-man situation for this trio, although they're working really well. To get to end game, that's always just clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games we had, and Dreda in that last game survived as his trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end and one more moving zone. They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day two, Shayo, is patience. Patience is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we are up to state. Will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's gonna be every time they see every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that is going to be like, do we box dive in? Do we go back our old ways? Because, you know, habits are hard to break. You know what they say? It says it takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world, it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your new habit for the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good so far. Meanwhile, though, Craggy Clips, it looks like Janice Chapix actually end up going down starting off this game. It might be it might have been a third party completely. But yo, talking about emotions, they have to be emotional after that one. They're slowly falling behind these 3 teams. Jerky, Tayson, and Savage game after game. They've now gone all the way down the field. You can off your first. Yes, Vortex Knight. I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are going to be here surviving for this game.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only 1 engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other time, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil got taken out by Hens Trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation, and that's where it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game out of the 12. This is just the halfway point here in day 2. Already, we are already seeing like all the Savage fans, right? All the Hit fans are like hoping that the other can like drop spot fights go the opposite way, and wow, this is the FNCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of Chris, Vortex, and Knight, being in 30th, being inside an end game, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks, going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else. This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's
That's
worth
true.
them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan, and it's working. For trios like High Chris, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast, but it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormy's, they're there, right? They're there.
Yeah.
You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day one. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And oftentimes, someone's walking around right now, but yeah, Kiriachi needs elims, doing it off the start of the day. Make sure
Mannequins coming alive is totally 80s music. That's what there. And now we have O'Reilly Reason. And the deal is so interesting, though. I thought this trio would be able to push out some growth. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio, taking out those legions of players. But I don't know who is this team. Like, I want to know who is this team.
I'll tell you how some of the emotions before, right? These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get points, they're happy. They're just riding those emotions, and now the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're going to keep doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like their 2nd week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll stick with this new lifestyle, and at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat, and right now they're just holding on. You know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're leaning out, because when they get lean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
We're watching the waves actually in the distance. They also like fighting a lot, but they sometimes comes out like a weird time. Sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive. They're still learning that type of game, and they're actually very similar, I would say, to Vidil and O'Reilly and Reason when it comes to, you know, approaching mid and end game. But we'll see. They're kind of in the same spot. Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place, rolling into. They're looking really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know, they're very consistent at just making games. 2/3 back to back from Nebs, Bubak, and Waze rolling through actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this trio. They're looking real good. Meanwhile, 4-0 Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. You know, lots of doubts in the preseason, lots of doubts while we were watching them from qualifiers to heats. They fixed everything. Yes. And once again, they're surviving. I have their win condition just kind of written down, as we talked about it last game a little bit as well, Sancho, for the tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot. We said Savage. We're talking about Hen. It feels like, once again, 4-0, Tayson, and Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to be that way. They need to make these flashy plays if they want to win this tournament.
They can do it. 22 elims in the heat stage.
Yeah.
It's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios, not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day, slowly slipping out of the top 3, right now coming in 8th, Shayo. It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andreas, the Savage, and Rescard now back in full force. They were able to get the reboot card and bring them back their trio mates. So that's looking good. It's slowing down though. So they may not have strong weapons, or they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive. Marine is now sending in the Sting Post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you got to do, man, you got to send in those stink bows just to open up a little bit. That's going to give the signal for Refsguard and Jordan Savage to rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
These guys have to have extra health or something. They survived so many crazy situations. Refsguard going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of loadout. You're right, Sancho, it's kind of weak, but what does this mean for Refsguard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game. They're in first, Sancho, right? With them alive, full forces. This means Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough time, kind of taking hold of this game. They're on screen right now, too. This is perfect. They're going to have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for 4-0, Nate and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside and Alexa's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. These things are still being thrown in.
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and is getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulex's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulex, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe it was Stompy. They had a fantastic run. Trulex arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios here. Queasy playing with Rasco and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. Snaze's trio, they're going to want this fight because they're low on Storm Surge. Because you come from Camp Cod, this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
Wow, Queasy's still finding a way in these bases with two teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy Lake, now it's down below at Camp Cod. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Roki on screen. They just make things crazy.
It's basically, that's a third party, right? That is what that's a third party. So that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place, and Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they're seeing some opportunities to get some tags here on the storm line edge. Red Rush in center. Zone is pushing them a little bit further. This is very going to be interesting in-game style if it goes down to Misty Meadows Lake. We see Zako's trio already setting up an opportunity here. We've seen when it was here in Lazy Lake yesterday, Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4, but there was 3 different height retakes and they lost it. And Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfies is getting eliminated. Elocrats is getting eliminating the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio Nut just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Yeah, Fast Roki down. The third party trio not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake, but what it looks like right now is they're actually under Surge. This is going to be a very crucial pump shot map. He has to hit. Surge actually goes away. You can back up, my friend. No! At the last second, Surge stopped 70 players. Mappy overstepped. The trio that clutched out this zone yesterday is going to be one man down. Mappy is also most consistent in terms of surviving and being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is looking tough on day number 2 for Red Rush.
And that was a big refresher elimination right there for Andretta's trio, knowing that they had a reboot teammate. Now they could take his loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question mark for Red Rush. If you're going to play center, you're going to have to hit your tags. You're going to have to find people on your rotations, because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door to collect that build.
This is actually tough, I feel like, for Savage, Jetta, and Refsguard. They like wide open low ground that doesn't really switch layers. Their lifeline for this entire tournament and their playstyle is low ground. If they don't have a consistent low ground type of terrain to play, they're going to be in trouble for games. Lazy, I feel like it's kind of like that with all the builds, the buildings, and the fact that it can go to the mountains and the river. They might be looking to play a little bit more mid. They're kind of trying to take it over from Red Rush, it looks like right now. And they know they're, at a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but no. They're going to sit up. They're going to build up. They know that low ground might be a little bit tough. Actually, still trying to hunt down Red Rush and Exterios. Not going to find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're going to have to switch up their play style. They're going to be aliens in terms of how they're playing. Very used, though, to being height. They're going to be in situations, not bad players in other spots. And there it is. The Red Rush elimination comes in. Going to have so many more materials as well to work with. Once again, though, it will be a very different game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where Zone 4 goes. Zone 4 is really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural buildings, the ones that are set here, and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and ForZR, who's made their way in from sweaty stands here on a very dead side rotation, considering that Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Andrea's trio has some work to do. There's a couple trios along their way, but Tayson's, ForZR, and Nate don't have to do any work. But Shayo, look at how much of the aquatic lake is eating up Zone 4, and we already seen when it comes to the FNCS wow. I cannot wait where this in-game goes. I mean, I'm trying to think what happened last season. There was Staten Island's reference that I remember. There was so much zaniness
too
going
crazy.
down. It was
too crazy last season. And for ForZR's true, it already looks like they have water in their lungs before they dive into the lake. They're down on HP. They're looking bad, pretty much like Waze right now on HP too. Has to dive into some minis and not a flop or a med kit, it's fine. But yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone. Sancho is absolutely correct. Once you're here, it's gonna take you double the builds to be able to survive. You have to build on the floor. And then every single opening there's gonna be even more eyes looking at you. There's no buildings, no terrain in the way.
So that will say, Queasy's trio, known to take height. If they could take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk away with the victory royale and catch up to Resguard and Dredda and Savage.
That's all it is right now. People trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Dredda and Resguard for that to happen. No O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, bow sniped again. They're looking to play defense and make sure all three are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Looking at the waterfalls on the right. They're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box beam, but they'll find a way. Bat Sniper on the receiving end. They're going to be really cornered down here. Esti, this is their home turf. Sancho, they were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the tourists from Lazy Lake are coming in and kind of changing the neighborhood that they're known to. You know, people like the neighborhood was never the same. Everything's different now. I wish it was back in the old days, but those old days, everything's been upgraded and everything's been infiltrated by all the people that are moving on through and Waze right now. 22 below has some work to do to be able to survive right now. Nebs, Bubak, and Waze have been doing a fantastic time of being in the middle of the packet in game, just getting there, but barely one above. And so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're on the rope, Shayo, and they have Gray on their layer.
Still have a chance to punch back and fight. Waze looking for any shots left and right. Neb's actually going down on the backside. Bubak will have to try to make amends for it, but Zone's coming in, so they actually can't even get to the loot or the body. Waze looking on the right side. Wolfie's looking down bad on the bill. Switches to wood, back to metal. Wolfie's trying to go for it, and Dredda might have been knocked. Queasy also down to the Zaiku. Everything is turning on its head. And it's not even rotating yet. It's not even closing in half and half. Hey, did these guys even reload? What is the mag size for Waze and Bubak? The shots are not stopping. Slender down. Wolfie's low HP. They picked up another jam sites here now. The edge of the zone is just catastrophic for any team down below. Waze and Bubak are not holding anything back.
All the teams that were on that struggle southern rotation are now breathing a sigh of relief. And Reason O'Reilly, thank you. Get up there and show that Bloomy's now being taken over. That is a huge play. And Noah O'Reilly and Reason are back up into the sky, and they are soaring. They may be soaring to the top of the leaderboard here after this match. That was a big, just an alpha ramp right out to and Bloomy's trio. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah, Reason, and the deal going up to your door.
Man, I was about to talk about it in a second when we went back to Bloomy, but I was going to say they have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally God ramps. There's been multiple games. I think it was Trulex who God read them yesterday. They're on height. They're going to get bow sniped or something. This time, Reason, Noah Riley, and Vidil. I think they understood height wasn't being that active. Bloomy, a little bit new to looking at how to actually play it. And boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 Nate and Tayson, though, once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. They're the only trio all the way on the backside, too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard, too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to clutch it up. 6 HP. It looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zones haven't even started. Every team is shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow, he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace. He'll survive for a bit, but he's on borrowed time.
Nate is gonna have to turn into a Houdini to survive that max pull, because he's gonna have to go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Refsguard, Andretta, and Savage. Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there, so that run is over. The Magician could not get out of that trap. Now, Refsguard, Andretta, Savage, just focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough elims just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy, to stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah Riley and the Deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason have a huge chart they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get snuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. 4ZR gone and Hen is gone. That's 3rd and 4th place down. There's a lot of room for people to move up.
Second place.
Jerky can't. Second place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Height is just punishing everyone. Trulex, you have to stay alive for this placement, my friend. Your tournament run might be at stake over here on the 3rd game of the 2nd day. He's looking to see what he does next. Zone actually does pull away. It's all of the Trulex to hold on to spot number 2 right now. He's not gonna be able to get the revive. Meanwhile, Vidil's still popping all the way up top on height. Joe Shadow moving down below. Refsguard and Savage is still ahead of zone.
Ahead of zone and looking healthy. That's exactly where the position that there would be. Every time they find success at in-game, they're right then and there. And look at it. All the pressure's going down right now from Noah Riley and Vidil and Reason here. Trulex is on the backside. Trulex has to hold on. Trulex is in second place without any kind of HP to med back up to full health here. But now all eyes are on this new form trio. It feels like they're just changed their ways, being patient. Let's go back into the great. The Deal and Reason now on height. Savage and Dread and Refsguard working through those buildings like you pointed out here, just giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more placement points, and now we're in the top 10.
And this is where low ground kind of gets tricky. Cars in the way, buildings you can't really break through in time either.
No builds.
Savage, no builds, nothing to really reform in terms of trees. They split up a little bit of mats. Minis also dropped down. It's looking like a 3v3 between Refsguard and Dretta Savage. Reason, Noah Riley, Vidil at the very end, but they still have to survive. Thomas HD alive as a solo all the way on the backside. Andalex actually going down from up top. The server's getting squeezed right now. And Dretta, Refsguard, Savage are waiting, and boom!
This is big.
Big shots coming through. Shadow, Joe, and Stompy kind of stuck on the left corner. Savage, though, is caught out. He was too far, and he goes down. It's up to Andretta and Refsguard to carry that torch to first place all the way. Meanwhile, Zyku taking out Stormer right from the backside. Low ground is a maze, a labyrinth, and you can't just hug the right wall. There's no solution to this. You have to react to everything going on in front of you. Noah Riley is getting close and personal, dropping for height, looking for box-to-box fights. Shakeoffs going down. They still have mass to survive.
The Deal, Noah Riley are the dogs, are sending down there to get some big bites on the low ground. They're going up for some air, and they're diving back into the mess that's on this low ground. Opportunity here for another victory royale. Stompy gets bopped. Here we go. This is it right here, Shio. It's a top 4 situation, and I'm just taking a look, and I believe Andretta is still holding on. This is going to be a big game for them, but if Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason could get some eliminations and the victory royale, they're going to be able to get into that top 3.
A slow burning game going to max brightness. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason are all still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. A majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big retake coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil gets clapped. Reason gets also completely brapped, but there it is. Fury gets taken down. Now Noah Riley is dropping to the floor. It looks like, yes, there is one team down below. Andretta still surviving as a duo. 2v2. We got another matchup to watch in just a sec. The zone's actually pulling up towards the hill. Noah Riley in advantage, but he's getting prepped to dive below. Taking a big breath of big shields before he hits that water. He goes straight down. No, not yet. Stink Bulls from Andretta. They have the Elam. Siphon comes through. Yes. Reason's up top with a med kit. Refsguard has the last tick of the zone. Reason eating the meat right now too. He's going straight for that drop down. It's not going to be enough for the heals to survive. Reason, Vidil, Noah Riley. Textbook game. That was absolutely crazy to watch.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total for that trio? Was that and the victory royale? I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're going to the moon.
No, they're going to
great
a different galaxy. They're going to a different. We don't know where they're going, man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, really, man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is just not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Vidil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe, Reese and Levin. I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action, constant blows going back and forth. I don't know if my little baby heart can take it.
I don't think my big boy heart can take it. Like, this was an incredible game from these guys. Record breaking actually for FNCS finals overall. 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. And we've called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off with a 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Look, last season, they looked like they were going to take the FNCS championship going into that final game, and things didn't go their way. But now they are back with vengeance. They had the highest point game of yesterday. They have the highest point game of not just today, but ever in an FNCS finals. Like, this is ridiculous stuff. These guys are going to shoot all the way up the standings. They came into this game in 10th. We'll see where they are when we get to it, but a phenomenal game from these guys.
And it's a very different game, right? When you could dethrone that #1 team going into the game, I mean, without Hen, Genis, and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this, like, pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hen, Genis, and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, right, or coming into yesterday, people were scared about this team here, High Chris Vortex, who are landing on them. And people said, if these guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn, moments before disaster. Screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in, you see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Chapix eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late, because you can see High Chris there is able to go and do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Genis. Genis here, he lands in this building, he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine and dandy. No, you have Vortex here, he has a primal shotgun, and he gets Genis down to 31 HP. What can Genis do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is like, this was the question we all had. Off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday, they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just 50-50, we know what Fortnite is sometimes. Fortnite, sometimes you land, you don't get the weapons you need, and you will just go down like this. If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back-to-back.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough. You know, we did see them lose a single game yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine. But they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this. And that is, like you said, the issue of a 50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being picked up, and that is the end of it for them. So you can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard, down until 7th. That's where they are right now. So they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game coming up forward. But some of these teams have been popping off. Rescard and Drea Savage still holding on.
They stay above,
so strong. I know.
They on top. It's so silly. Like, every single game, we see some ridiculous stuff happen, and yet they remain first place every single time. Phenomenal stuff for them. But look, Noah Riley, Reason, Vidil sitting in 4th place. They were 10th last time. That game, 3 victory royales so far. The most of any other team. Like, this is insane from these guys.
Yeah, it was disappointing that they had so many not so great games yesterday. Like, after their big victory royale, they really had the other 5 games that just weren't really anything. So today they are playing serious catch-up, but already with 3 games left, being 4th, if they keep playing the way that they're playing today, this is going to be an incredible finish.
I just feel like Sancho West, like, his prediction is just kind of echoing my mind. I just remember back before the final started, Sancho was like, guys, you know what? Calling in now, Savage's trio, game 12, they're going to clutch it up for the whole champion. No, apparently Sancho was just like, what he meant to say was, they're going to clutch up every game at all the times, at all the points in the competition. My goodness, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Fortnite fam, we hope you're enjoying all of the action. That's 3 games down. We only have 3 games to go. Now, I know what you're thinking, Zeke. Let's get back aboard the battle bus. You're right. in just a little bit. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition during the break. So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shawwager, Sunchowest, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going here from the FNCS in Europe. See you guys in just a second.
Welcome back to the European FNCS Finals. It's day number 2. We're on game number 10 of 12, and our previous FNCS champions on your screen right now, Hen, Janice, Chapix, finally allowed to play this game. They've been contesting off spawn 24/7, all 10 games. They've lost 2 so far. The last one we just watched, but this time, if you're watching during the break, that fight ended in what, 3 seconds, Sancho?
And more importantly, they've been chilling in their lobbies respectively for about 25 minutes or so. So we all know that game of time to kind of chill out for a little bit, reset. We've been saying countless times, when they get out of Craigie Cliffs, they have the potential to win it all with a victory royale and double-digit eliminations. So now we're getting into it. We have 3 games left here of the FNCS EU before we crown either a defending champion or we crown a 3-time champion in Tayson, Nate, and Tayson's going to be that one right there. But the whole thing about this right now is, what kind of games going forward do these trios need? And Jonah Resguard and Savage, they don't need anything special. They just got to hold on, keep getting to end game, trust the process. That's all they have to do. Now, for people like Badil, Noah Riley, and Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way up, they just have to now slow it down just a little bit more. I just don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 16th place as well. They're a very flip-floppy team. Every time they win, Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2 have been attempting to be curse breakers today. On day number 1, in the first 6 games, they had so many good positions on height. They ended up getting taken over. It was tough. It was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsguard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-floppy. They have a win, 17th place. It's looking kind of weird. Everyone right now, this game matters so much. They have to be very consistent.
What's on the line is life-changing money. Hundreds and thousands of dollars for every single trio that we saw here are playing with that on their top of their minds. Every moment matters for them. Every build, every call out, every engagement's going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That 1.3 million total dollar prize pool when it comes to Europe. $300,000 for the trio who's rolling in first place. Squeezy, Trulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but once again, they cannot afford to make any mistakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape exactly how your entire tournament run looks. If you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby, but behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earned their spot. They're going against the Andalexes of the world. They're going up against an up-and-comer in Jules right now, getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now, we're talking about movement. Badil, Noah Riley, and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that have moved them up their leaderboard. And look at their strategy. They've just totally changed. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of, you know, at Rose, where we're watching like Unknown, and where all the question was, what would Unknown look like in in-game? If Unknown down there in the NA, what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic energy, that be able to box fight anybody? He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in-game? Well, we're seeing right here a game that they just flip-flop everything, the script. They were getting like these 10 elim games, right? When in the early game. Now they're getting those 10 elim games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
For Vadil, Noah Riley, it only really is wins that are keeping them in this game. If they're not winning, they're having very, very, I would just say, middling performances throughout. It's like 11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day. It's not looking too good when you look at their team if they don't win games.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like, what will Wolfies look like in game? What would CRR look like in game? You know, what are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in game? And we're getting a taste of it. And we're just seeing that if you go do your homework, VOD review, they kind of tweeted out, we figured out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We're joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the fourth one of the day. So a lot of people have already moved off of their spots. They're rotating and the zone's coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, 4ZR and Lazy Lake, and we just started casting? No, this is all the way in a mid-game rotation, and their tags are looking a little bit low, but this is where they actually end up doing the damage. This is going to be a very good spot, but it's going to be shared alongside Fusion and Nexus down below. They love knocking on your walls, and then up top you have Scram, Putrick. We're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need to come back. Thomas HC, Flick, and Anas have to have that pop-off game. They've been denied 2 times in this FNCS tournament. 2 times their signature pop-off game, holding on height, losing it at the very last moment. We saw the misplay by Thomas HC with the med kit here. Now, Reason, Noah Riley, the deal in trouble right now. Things are going to do. This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day 1, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down from making their movement. This is the 4th place team right now battling. I'm taking a look at the board. They're facing the 9th place team.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple Knights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on any walls to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides. Siptos on one, not aspiring away from the backside all the way up top on a hill 2. Nems Bubak on ways, as you mentioned, Sancho, not stopping the pressure. No Riley, Reason, and Vidil, they might just drop down to patterns. They won the last game. They might be going out early in this one.
This happened in game 2. Last time they got pinched, they were attacking Hen, and then all of a sudden, Floki's trio pinched them and wounded them, and they went down to a duo. So if they could solve what they did, the mistakes that they did last time, they could be able to keep pushing up their leaderboard. They did that by switching up a layer to staying away from that crazy low ground that's happening right there. But it's still, we have to keep an eye on them. That's what happened yesterday. All of a sudden, they just getting knocked down to a duo on that transition between early to mid game.
And now we see a Nos, Flick, Thomas, Hen, Janice, and Chapix on the same hill. Noel Riley, Vidil right beside them as well. The top 3 from your last FNCS making a similar type rotation. It looks very similar to game 6 of last season as well. So slightly, you know, the zone that's kind of central going towards the south. It could pull up the Steamy, who knows? But Nos, Flick, Thomas, we were talking about them a little bit before as well, Sancho, when we were looking at, you know, how are things looking for them overall in these 12 games. Last season, after 9 games, they were looking a little bit worrisome as well. 4th place overall. They needed to come up and they got 2nd. They're now in 6th. They're looking for that climb up as well. We'll see if it's possible. Meanwhile, the big pressure from Bubak is too much to handle for Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They go down once again, and it feels like the pattern will be true for this team. It's always a win followed by an early knockout. Noah Riley is still once again hanging on the ropes. You can try to see if he survives and plays for a little bit of placement, but they're kind of deep in this game. Reboots are very difficult to kind of take away when you're so close to so many trios. It should be wrap-ups for that squad.
If there's a solo that you want in that trio, is Reason. Reason finished 7th place in Chapter 2, Season 3. So that is going to be interesting to see what Noah Riley can do as a solo. But Anas Flick and Thomas HD, who have a great day 2, have yet to have that. They're doing okay, but not by their standards. And now you're seeing in the feet Blasters, who just finally survived, save it down there in Weeping Woods, not make it into the middle game right there. But Ryan, Lanouf now have to deal with 2 of the Titans of the region ramping right over them, and they're not moving. They don't want any piece of this pie, but oh no! Chapix and Flick are colliding right here, and Chapix gets knocked. That's Hen. They're trying to move up the board, but Thomas AC is trying to catch them from their ankles so they can't climb any higher.
6th versus 7th. They're really, literally clawing at their ankles right now. Anas, Flick, Thomas HD, making sure there's no chance that they get any higher. They're going to keep moving forward, and this is going to be such a tricky rotation, Sancho. We've been looking at wide shots of this entire zone. There's so many trios that heat angles and locations. There's nowhere to really stop. Flick and Anas, Thomas HD have to keep going. They can't slow down.
and the ramification goes beyond just eliminations. Now that Janus is by himself, the solo champion here has to hold on as much as possible. I was gonna say Chapix is that in-game leader. He kind of puts Hen close to him, but now Janus is feeling the lobby pressure, and it's just too much. Nas, Thomas HD, take him out.
They got the elim. My question is, if they stolen the energy too, there's always one type of pop-off game that comes through with Flick and Nas, Thomas HD, and it usually happens when a top team goes down as well. This could be that game. We're on their kind of home territory on the right side of the map. We'll see if it's possible, but there's so many different trios, shoulder to shoulder, side by side. Savage, Repsguard, and Dreda are kind of gatekeepers here too. That Stinkbo, Sancho, you were talking about it. It's rolling through.
Noah Riley gets an elimination, so Noah Riley is still on his feet, adding valuable points to the board here, especially now that we're seeing the top of the board a little bit in shambles right now at the moment. So Flick, Thomas AC, and Nas, you're right. They're in their home turf here. We all know when there's a game on the line and you are the home team, there's just a little bit more pressure considering that the zone sometimes won't favor you. And I think for the longest time, this is the first time we've seen an East Coast zone in this FNCS EU tournament.
That's very, very tough. Last time we were watching yesterday when game 4 rolled in, it was Lazy Lake we were looking at. This time it's going to be Dirty Docks kind of, or at least the mountain where the grotto used to be. Savage and Jenna Refsguard trying to take away the life raft that was basically thrown to Anas, Thomas HD, and Flick, trying to get them out of the top 10. They're saying, no, I'm going to deflate it. There's no way we're letting you sit in this base rent-free. You're going to have to pay a little bit of tolls with your HP pools. And yeah, those things really bled through these builds. You can see Anas's HP, it's still slightly low. Thomas was on at 40. They had to pop a med kit to get all the way back up. They have to make this rotation now too. All that healing lost them a lot of time, and now every single trio is looking at them. But because they move first, and now these guys are moving late, they have a lot of different builds to kind of block the sight lines. They can just reuse them over, save on their mats as well. This is a pretty good angle as long as they don't get shot.
And along their way of this rotation here, very treacherous. You see Savage right there in the distance. We've been seeing Savage just rain down those stink bows, getting those valuable Storm Surge tags that way. Triple, Elocrast right in the distance here. Shakos and Gray close to height, but I'm just guessing EMXR is at height actually with Podosite. Very, very cool to see them again.
Whoa.
Welcome to the tournament. Now you see Jerky Trulix as well at height as well.
And if you look over at height for just a second too, that split is absolutely insane. You have, I think, MXR on one of the mountain peaks.
Yes.
And then Podosite and Walnuts on the very other one too, so they have so much control. Endelux popping off against Nate in the feed. That's a top 3 team getting affected by some people who are way, way down on the leaderboard as well. Now, Trulex under Surge, their entire team found some big tags. They're also looking okay for now, but in a desperate situation.
We're seeing what happens here when the FNCS on the line, former teammates could go back and forth here. Of course, Andelix and Nate being the duo's champion. Now they're kind of go into this battle here. Now we're getting closer and closer to the end game. It's all determined where Zone 5 pools. And hey, all you people that invested in this mountain real estate, you're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to move up north.
Absolutely, and every time there is a mountain inside these end games, it's always the top trios that end up suffering, who are pushing for that real estate, who get kind of trumped down and then don't actually have their builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, the top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground's a thing or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in game 1 as well. It's so unexpected on what you have to do to survive these big zones. The big height is going to be tricky. We're alongside Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early, as you already see Queasy's trio already making a stamp on height. No surprise here, but let's go back into the ground. Look at the gravity of the situation that Flick and Thomas HD and Arnas are facing. Now, Thomas HD and Flick have to go as a duo, Shio. This is not going to be easy because it is Savage and Dreda there at their front doorstep.
And Dreda actually gets hit by Flick's harpoon, so big shots and wow, pulled before the wall comes down. Siberia knocked down by Flick. That's a huge elimination for the points. Big for the mats too. This trio has been bleeding on low ground ever since Savage saw them. They haven't stopped the stinks. They haven't stopped the pressure. Sancho mentioned it. Their builds so low. Their teammate down, Anas, one of the clutch gods, not going to be there to see the end of the game.
Man.
And their builds are on fire. Luckily, it's metal. It's not bleeding to the floor just yet. It is. And they have to go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates. Oh my goodness.
This is not fine. This is not fine. Now the zone does pull their way, but they're going to have a tsunami of trios pushing right over them. And the one that's riding, surfing the top of that wave crest is Queasy's trio. They've already committed to this height here, but they have to go back and chop out who's holding it. And that was Podesai's trio who late rotated through.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of height here. It might be just one more floor that's connecting, but no. A quick drop down. Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho. This is going to be a very tricky zone for all these low ground teams to play. I'm worried for Savage. We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mats. So up on height, Queasy is still trying for it. Here comes the big retake. Blocked by a floor. He has to waterfall down. MXR was hit, though, by Trulex, and oh my god, he's completely down. Marine picks up Floki on low, but it looks like Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky have height again. The retakers on EU, they might be the best in the world in doing it, but their mission's not done yet. Kiriachi wants a piece of the pie, and he's going to the sky.
Denied by Trulex, though. They have height. Time and time again, the theme for this trio is holding on height. They already have a victory royale, and they're right now in second place. But we all have to keep an eye on the low ground. Revsguard and Dread and Savage are still doing well. And when they're on their feet, they're not only going to get placement points, but the potential to rack up elims here. But the story is going to go back up to the height here as we focus on in. They've only had 3 eliminations, and they could hurry up. If they could get into the front, they could stop everybody that's trying to get to the front side of the storm and just get more and more eliminations. But look at how much this is so claustrophobic right now for Savage and Dread and Revsguard. Revsguard on the sliver of HP, and now Savage without shield is going to retreat back into the shadows and just hope that the storm just gives them a moment just to breathe a little bit longer. It is the first place on the line, and there is that big sigh of relief as Savage gets a huge siphon from Marine.
He has the HP, but didn't grab the mats. Revsguard goes down. Right now, we're in the underworld of this end game. Another big shot from Savage. He takes down Void and Dread on the backside, but he's inside zone, getting tickled in the back, but it doesn't feel good right now. Savage down, and then a clap. That entire trio's taken out. The bottom side of the zone has been invaded by the high and mid-ground teams. Queasy and Trulex, we didn't forget about you. Let's wrap up this game.
In a blink of an eye, they had low eliminations, but now look, they have 8 eliminations, and they're gonna get another one. 148 elo crats. You got greeted by the big shots right here, walking out of Storm, and now Queasy's just gonna get enough of the little builds. It's a top 3 situation.
The 25 HP rock shot. Queasy, what a big strategy right there to get that elimination. After that, more elims and siphons come through. 2-man situation on height right now, but they're at the advantage. It's a 2v1. Snazy is back and looking to try to clutch this from low. He has lots of builds to work with, but the pinch is too strong from the height god team. Retakes, pressure, and strategy you can't expect. Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are amazing at this game.
13 eliminations and the victory royale. The adjustments are ringing true, and we're seeing what height is doing in this meta. Last season, it was the low ground teams is getting these high number of eliminations and the victory royale, but we're seeing that the air is a little bit cleaner on height. They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Queasy's trio, Shio.
Yeah, and that was just such a strange game for all the low teams. It was so tough to play. Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Guys, I said it a couple games ago. These guys are the high ground kings, okay? I don't understand. They're not even in high ground, okay? It's like, all right, this is it, the tail of the competition. They're like, oh yeah, look, there's a trio above us, no problem, yeah. The moment they start to move, that's it. Queasy, he's up there. Kiriachi was like, oh yeah, I'd like high ground. That seems like a good idea. No, Queasy was like, no, here's 1 floor. Stop, don't move. And they were like, all right, sounds good, man. You got it, whatever. I don't understand, Reese. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how.
It was the chop play that really did it for them. Obviously, they saw they weren't on that 5th zone. They chopped it out. They managed to just get it from there. And like you said, you know, we did see Kiriachi's team going for that. But you noticed that I'm pretty sure Trulex had peppers at that time because he flew ahead. If not, he was just ahead of the game, flew up, took high from there. But one of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3, 4 elims, pretty much none coming to moving. I think there was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long it feels like Savage's trio has been above. But looking at these guys, man, all season long, when we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Like, before that sort of run they started to have, it was always Queasy's the most unlucky player, always having hardware issues, never able to play out a tournament fully due to some issues. And now that they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games left to go, so I want to kind of turn our attention to teams 4, 5, and 6 coming into this last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do to look and strike that #1 spot?
I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent to remain at this point, right? All of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while. You look at Stormy, right, Kyriach, and Fuse. It's weird, I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory royale, right? They are still lacking that victory royale to sort of solidify themselves, and so maybe that's what they need to push themselves into contention.
Yeah, and you said no critiques, and I totally agree with you on their team. They're really, really consistent, but just not managing to have those big games that they need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was the game where they didn't quite manage to pick up the victory round, game 1 today. So they were down kind of in that 5th to 6th range, and for these guys, they obviously want first, but I think top 3 is really where they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and reason O'Reilly of a deal went down in 21st that game. Right, so they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they're 5th. But look at who's taking over first place. Just 5 points in it, guys. 5 points in it. Queasy, Trulix, and Druki are now at the top of the standings. 3 victory royales, joining O'Reilly, Reason of a deal in that free group. Like, this is some crazy stuff.
This is actually really insane, because I think this is the first time today that we've seen Rescard and Savage lose the first place slot. So, right, this is the first time they've gone down, but again, only 5 points between it. And man, if you look at this, you see Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, 5th zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place becomes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want an auto-call spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. They had that 1 victory yesterday, not been able to do much outside of that. I think a big disappointment here is Red Rush, Exteriors, and Mappy, who came into today in what, 2nd place or something?
They were 3rd, yeah.
3rd place, and now they're sitting in 12th, right? Things have really fallen off for them. They need to sort of pick things up. And Floki, Clement, and the Sipsos, to me, right, they're the 2nd best team today. If you were just getting the standings from today, they've been like a top 3 team today. But because of their failings from yesterday, it is still an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, yesterday is a day that they probably won't want to talk about too much, to be honest. But, we have to when you look into the cumulative scores. And, them in 14th right now, definitely, that's still a huge achievement. But these guys were looking for a top 3 finish, let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here. Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits, you've got to think that Flois, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pop off a huge amount. And yes, they're currently in 20th, right? They're not in there, but again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So it's definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights, and the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So
a little bit.
Not bad. Yeah.
Oh man, boys, we only have 2 games left to go. It is a battle between 1st and 2nd place. how is this all gonna go? How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats, Fortnite fam. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho with Shy Wager. Back over to you, friends.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. 2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $1 million prize pool is at stake. And now, Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky, the only thing that concerns me is this split that they have. We saw in the qualifier stage numerous times somebody random just hiding and waiting out, where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory. And look, bad sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment, looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Trulix is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Trulix. To make sure no one's flying in, he always ends up landing early because this kind of generator building is on the upside, a higher point of landing. So everyone else on their team, Queasy and Jerky, they end up going a lot lower. They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Trulix can be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feed to Nikoff. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, no O'Reilly, Vidil, Reason. I mean, this has to be the game to watch for them. Every time they have a good game, it's followed by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a first place, at least today. So patterns are correct. They could win this game and have a big showing. Meanwhile, at Craggy Cliffs, 11th game, Sancho, the fights don't stop.
This is going to be monumental for Chapix and Hen and Janice. They have to walk away from Craggy Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up. Right now, they slipped down 1 spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Chris, Vortex, Knight, the thorn on our champion's side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 EU finals had 3 victory royales, and we had 2 trios in this tournament here from Vidil and Jerky's trio having already accomplished that. But there's still 2 more games left. We'll all have eyes on these engagements and, of course, our elimination feed.
Man, the slow burn type of game just kind of ruins the game plan for Chapix, Janice, and Hen. They like having control of the map as well as fighting this kind of big battle off spawn. It's going to be tough, Sancho. We're talking about they need this game is because they're in 8th place rolling in, about 90 points away from first place. They definitely need a double-digit elim win to catch up for the win. In terms of catching up, to top 3, they're about 30-ish points away. So once again, a game of a difference. They're going to disengage. Haven't seen this happen today yet. It did happen yesterday. They go for the fish. They're going to be looking good so far. Gonna have less loot though overall and be bad on time. The last time they disengaged, I believe they had a little bit of a closer zone. This time we're going towards what looks like Holly or Slurpee. It's going to be rough for them on rotate. They have to do this fast. And already I feel like Bodasire MXR from Stealthy Stronghold is already on this island. Or my apologies, Bubak actually, who's landing over at Stealthy. And he's on this island. He's already fished up a little bit. I think Janice and Chapix know on the top right POV. They might hunt him down, but he's already leaving the island. And look at Chris in the water, the yellow arrows on the map. We're at Slurpee right now, but they're chasing down our previous FNCS champions. They're not letting them get away for free.
We're here at Slurpee to keep tabs on the 4th place team of Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos. The team that have just been having a really solid run, free rotations. Usually when you have Slurp Factory contested here and now going up against, that is Shadow's trio there who are doing that Shantytown split. Now we have eyes here on the 2nd place team who have been holding on to 1st place throughout the entire tournament. And they've just been kind of just putting in kind of like a points, like really solid, you know what I mean? But when you have the teams that have been putting in some astronomical numbers, some huge performances like Vidil and Queasy, who has just been just as consistent, but you're just seeing the 2 clashes of meta, Shiloh, right? The high ground and the low ground. And right now the high ground is just winning it out and they have the advantage, but it's only by 5 points. So look at the gold number right now. That is just in this session, 118. On the other side, Queasy is at 136. So If Refsguard's trio could get those 5 points, they automatically close the gap in the cumulative leaderboard.
Absolute 5-point difference. At the same time, here is the catch up. We're fighting this fight on a brand new map. It looks like usually craggy cliffs. Now we're on that Flopper Island. Chapix, Janice, and Hen have all the high points, but High Chris has actually made a little bit of a base on the right side. Gonna be looking for a shot, but he's playing it sneaky. They're not letting these guys extend these builds whatsoever because they might be able to find High Chris on his spot. Very smart from Vortex. As he does that though, gets bopped. Low on shields. Janice down below too, and he's almost down with no HP.
What a great adjustment from High Chris trio. Last time they let this trio disengage to Flopper Island. This time they decided to take the fight to them right on the island.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be the wrap-up of the tournament as well. There's no point really for this trio to roll in and disengage. They're going to keep chasing down, but Chapix stops their chase at least a little bit. Knight's 1 HP too. If he drops down and sees him with a quick flick, he can end his big run too. He's going to stay sneaky. Meanwhile, because of this, there'll be enough relief of pressure for Janice to get revived back up. A medkit in play too. They're going to be looking fine for now. Once again, though, Sancho, zone is not here. And these guys are already running through their meds and loot. Look at Chapix's inventory. This is not a Chapix loadout. Makeshift AR, blue pump. Finally find the sneaky man. Good night. Good night, literally. And that's gone. So these guys get to play their game out for the rest of game number 11. The thing is, though, they had to invest so much here. Look at all the hard mats. They barely got the fish. And zone's coming in.
It is vital for them to find a vehicle like you see in Nos trio, put some chunker tires on that, which is a new introduction here in the season that just allows you to move like right over the terrain a lot faster. So they're going to sit there on Flopper Island, no doubt, hit up all the fishing holes. I've seen Thomas AC Flick and Nos here are going to visit this character to be able to buy a rift, and they're going to be able to move on through. It's so exciting to always see a rift. It just makes me so nostalgic. Oh, Rift to Ghost, I love you.
They'll be able to rotate fast. Meanwhile, Savage, oh my goodness, almost thrown off course. It's good.
It's a little, it's a little tough. A little bit, the suspension is a little high, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were made to literally jump buildings, but Refsguard makes it happen. And while he does that, they're going to look for tags as well. This is a mobile surge of vehicle, and they're looking for it. They'll try to go for it. They'll move out. Refsguard will be able to heal and drive at the same time, or at least be in the car at the same time as he heals. Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky, though. This is kind of the perspective. Second place and first, back to back. They got twos. I think they'll look to just hit that bow shot with the pump shot. Yes, they combine it for the big surge tags too. And that's going to be looking good for them overall. Stinkfish, 6 of them in play. You saw before, Sancho, Stinkfish kind of ruined one of their games. Now they're going to look to actually use them to get ahead of the competition.
Sometimes the Slurp Factory team used to go out into these fishing spots. They become fishermen for a bit. That's a big part of Kirachi's game plan. They have about 3 slots that's all dedicated to heals with floppers and mobility. If they had a spicy fish, that's what they use to overtake height. So that's why you found, you know, two's way out there by themselves. So that's a great adjustment by Queasy's trio deciding to push, which has been so far a chill ride for that team coming out of Slurp Factory.
And if you're in the top 10 right now, you're also looking to grab mountains or grab guardian posts. You saw a Nas at one of them. Refsguard's going to be up towards the middle of the spire as well.
5 points, bro. 5 points. This is going, you know what I mean? That's what separates them from first place. And we already saw Queasy got another one, so it's actually 7 points, right? The elimination, 7. We have yet to get to that placement threshold in the top 25, so 7 points right now separating first and second.
Meanwhile, everyone's trying to catch up. They're kind of in a little bubble of their own, about 50 points ahead of everyone else. Nas, Flick, and Thomas, even the team all the way up top with Anilex Nazy, they need wins. They need wins right now to get all the way up top, but only one team can walk away with that victory royale. Only one team can really afford to push for double-digit elims and be safe at the same time. So Nas, Flick, and Thomas will try to. Gonna keep rotating away.
And I have to say, you know, Anilex, they're coming back slowly. They're in top 10. In the previous game, they moved up from 13th to 10th place. They have 190 points. They're slowly turning their fate. It's one of those teams, just like in the playoffs of any kind of sports. They're a veteran team. You don't want to see them. You know they're going to be a tough out and they're along their rotation. So no doubt, seeing an Anilex trio sitting in front of you, that's not good news for Anas, because that trio is going to continue on the rotations. As you see, Reason actually knocking Pizza in the feet.
Pizza going down. Reason feels like these guys are already hot off their step, looking to have another great game. Zyku-san and Jules, I would say one of the most surprising performances of this FNCS. Rolling in They look so good on height. They look so good in their heat as well. They just lack that experience of control. But so far today, 7th place. They're right behind Plikonos Thomas and ahead of Janice Chapix and Hen. They're next to legendary names rolling in on one of their first FSCSs, looking really good too. They're just having a very stellar performance. Excited to see how they look in future seasons. The games aren't even done today. If they figure out how to make up for their lack of experience, take more risks, they can get even higher on the boards today.
They didn't even make it into round 4 of any of the qualifiers, so they are progressing right. And you're right, if the career trajectory, if they decide to stay together as a trio, they could definitely keep having a better performance in the next finals.
Astroki looks like he's back up with Pizza and Ardit, so the full elimination didn't really come through. Savage, although, has kind of invested a lot into this game. Must be medkits or something that are already down, maybe big pots. Still has that stink bow, is going to be moving over.
Ooh.
Wait for the threshold, wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Boom,
Okay.
214. Okay. We learned the lessons, yep.
Yes.
They're looking real good. 214 above, and they still have chances to do more damage. Who's right next to him? Yeah, but it's Fast Strokey. They don't like letting a trio getting away for free. Fast Strokey, a lot of the times, if they're down on Surge, they like having these box fights, but I don't feel like in the last 2 games they're going to be playing that super risky.
It's just showing you there, they take a lot of moments here to fight this engagement. You have Wakey's trio out there, you have Vidil's trio just a little bit further, so this wedge is already being filled with big names of the EU region, and 7 points is all they need right now. So when that number gets to 222, they catch up to Queasy. Placement points haven't been doled out. 5 points we're going to be doled out in about 4 places, and the lobby focus is coming in. This is 2nd place here on the ropes. They might get KO'd, and that's Noah Riley applying pressure on the other side. That's Asterios applying pressure on the other side. Here comes the stink. The gas may be a little too dense for them, and Dreda now down without any shield on the sliver of life. Savage is on the same way, is able to get back to 100 HP, but Roughscar goes down. Too much pressure from all angles, as my boy Shio will say. Left, right, up, down, doesn't matter where they look, they were just getting too much, and now it all falls on Indreda's shoulders. This will be by far one of the lowest finishes they had throughout the entire tournament, and this is 2nd place once again. 6 HP and a dream, and that dream is being turned into a scary nightmare. Can they get it? Whoa, hold on just for a brief moment. And that's what FNCS comes all about, the brief moments. To be able to res your teammate Revsguard and Dreda, the classic duo, now have to hold on tight. It's not a Savage clutch that they need, and now it's a duo clutch of Indreda and Revsguard.
They'll try it. Red Rush Mappy Exterior still looking from the outside in. Indreda, their 2nd place ship, caught in a Bermuda Triangle of pressure and stinks all around. Might be a shipwreck here in just a second. It's going to be so tough to get out of here, and they're not sure what's outside these walls. You can hear the footsteps too. The shield for Revsguard, he went down to Stink, so it still stays up for him. They get to save a lot on resources. In terms of the meds they have, they can see, I feel like, Revsguard through these walls. No, they're metal walls, and it'll be tough. There comes all the pressure. They have to move. Edit out right, but there's trios waiting outside too. 65 damage above, and they're still getting tagged. This is rough for Indreda and Revsguard for the moment. They're caught right back on Storm Line 2. 3rd zone moving in 45 seconds. This survival story has a timer. They not only have to escape this pressure, but then move in a time limit too. So this is going to be really strugglesome. 10 bills on Indreda too. This is just too rough.
My oh my, the shoes on the other foot. We saw this engagement down in Lazy Lake, and we saw Indreda, Revsguard, and Savage get a big key refresher off of Mappy's trio, and Mappy is just disengaging right now, leaving this trio on the island all by themselves with no life raft to be able to survive, and Storm Surge is raining down terror. 55 below, not enough minis to hold on, but Red Rush, he sees that, he's trying to capitalize, but some tags on Red Rush here. Revsguard and Dreda here, it's all but a matter of time for them to be eliminated here in one of the 2 games, and the Raptor says hello, but Asterios is the ultimate king. He takes them down, and now Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy get revenge, and what an almost bad timing for Indreda, Revsguard, and Savage to go down, because Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are still on their feet, looking good, feeling good, breathing in that fresh air.
Fresh air, 1st place right now, watching in the feed, 2nd go down. Revsguard and Dreda Savage are going to be one of the only top trios in the game right now not to be playing out this specific end game. This is a chance for a lot of people to catch up but at the same time, a chance at the second last game of the EU finals for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky to really solidify that first place spot.
The only trio I think they have to be have to keep wary of is Vidil trio. Throughout the entire day, they've been playing height. They've already defended them once. They already got a huge bow shot to stop their push. So we have to keep an eye on what kind of position does Vidil trios have. But let's keep an eye on here on a third place team, Tayson.
Third place looking to take over second, but it's a 50-point gap they have to make up. Looking in for a big fight too. It's a Tomzy. Bloomy already a little bit affected. I think Percival's down. They're not going to be trading lives either. It's just damage. They pick up another. Find Percival. Looks like they found one more as well through the entire engagement. Haven't taken out the full trio, but they'll take those points. Let's talk about patterns and weaknesses for the two trios we were just talking about, Sancho, Queasy, and Vidil. For Vidil, once again, they're having bad games and then a victory royale, back to back to back. Their last game was just bad. They're slated to get a VR right now, especially we've been seeing them picking up eliminations all throughout the map. Now for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, their biggest weakness is having height like they have right now and not being aware of the lobby getting overtaken. This is a scary situation. The only games they've really choked and lost is when they actually have high ground. The consistent games is where they play mid, they look fine. This is such a good spot for them. They look like kings right now. But that throne is definitely up for grabs. They have to be very, very vigilant. Think about Thomas HD Flick and Anas as well. This is not a pattern we've seen for an entire season, but these last two games usually is where they operate. They love the pressure. They like being in sixth place all the way behind. Now, it's a big gap. They're about 80 points away or 60 points away from the first place, Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky. But if they can catch up now, it has to be the time to have to take them off of height as well.
Let me introduce some other foes of Queasy's way. You have Shadow's trio, who are known to be aggressive at height. You also have a trio in Hen right behind them, who in game 4 yesterday were able to flank them and sneak up here. So it all depends where the zone 5, half in and half out. You already see Noah Riley already invested here in about 0 seconds. Here we go. About a minute. We're going to see zone 5 revealed. And let's see if Queasy or Noah Riley or Shadow gets that first moving.
We'll talk about the zones in the map too as these guys drop down pressure. You'll see a bunch of eliminations come through. The more important thing is we haven't seen a Slurpee endgame zone just yet in these FNCS finals. We've seen Caddy multiple times, Lazy Lake multiple times. The Orchard, Spire in the middle as well has been big, and Vidil, Noah Riley like to operate there. Everyone has experience on all sides of the map. Over here though, the bottom left side of the map, we have not seen any of these teams have their take so far inside this lobby. This is going to be a brand new, fresh game. Noah Riley's looking for picks already. Thomas HD got some in the feed. Slender is still alive this game. All the trios we're used to seeing go down are up and ready. This is a completely fresh experience.
What a solid position right here. Look how much lobby is just coming their way from Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason. They haven't been able to get there. There is finally a good knock on Domentos right there, but those are the valuable elimination points they could to close the gap, because they have a lot of work to do considering that Queasy is still up. Here we go. Zone 5 is about to be revealed. This is going to be huge for the second to last game here of the EU finals. Let's see where it goes.
Checking out all sides of the map. Looks like people are starting to rotate in. It's towards this top right of Slurpee Swamp. Noah Riley basically have the gatekeep position, at least from their trio. I see one on absolute height. It might be Trulex. No, it's Exterios, who's all the way on high ground. With Mappy and Red Rush, somehow they found a way to get all the way up top. The consistent trio coming in throughout the day have kind of, had a leg backwards. They're in 4th place right now. They have the best chance to catch up completely, but they have to fight Queasy, they have to fight Vidil. 3 different teams looking to have high and take this game.
My oh my, we're used to seeing the low ground and just seeing Trulex. Yes, the defense they saw in the VOD how they got flanked on. They're trying to discourage that high ground retake, because we all know it's basically so much free. That's to be an economy type of way to take that high ground from, because they don't have to use all that. That's what Chapitz is keeping an eye on before. But look, actually Flick is pushing on Noah Riley. They're trying to take this height away from them, and Noah Riley's doing all that he can to stop it.
Every team from 3rd to 10th is trying to find a way to get back into this tournament, get back to the first place slot. Right now for Anas, it'll be going straight to Noah Riley's box. A big pump comes in to trade. Thomas HD is keeping this team's dreams alive, but he's the only one left up with 19 HP. landed a big pump, didn't get a full finish on the Elam either. This height take did not work out, and their chances for first place are definitely on the line.
Thomas HD could definitely clutch that situation. He's done it in previous season. He's going to have one of the biggest clutches. But look, Height's in trouble. Trulix Jerky goes down, and Queasy has been put down to low ground. He is in shambles. Queasy doesn't want to be down here. The air is not just too dense for them. His lungs are used to clean air. Queasy now, he has to do all that he can to hold on. This is the first place team going down, and placement points are well out getting doled.
This might be the most important clutch of Queasy's career in general. The longer he stays alive, the more of a gap he makes between him and Savage, who went down so much earlier. It's all about placement points for that team right now, but for Exterios, Mappy, and Red Rush, it's all about the catch-up. If Queasy goes down as well, it basically becomes a foot race for every top 10 team to close that gap, but it's all down to him. 15 different teams alive right now. That placement will come in every single time one goes down. Queasy moving forward, only soft mats, 400 builds. He's looking to harpoon any type of materials, but every edit he opens is an invitation for more beams to come from any direction that he's looking at. A big shot right in front. He dodges it, goes towards low ground. He's still moving in. He is getting more placement. Thomas HD is down. He has a little bit, but he's taken out now. For every other team up right now, it's a chance for contention, a chance to catch up to the first and second place team. This is that gap game, and every team's looking to fill it.
Reason, Noah Riley, and Badil are second from height. You're taking a look at Kinzel, 16th place going into this match here. They have some chance to move up their leaderboard, but Tayson, 4ZR, Nate, who have been passive at in-game, are now looking at height to see if they could take it. If Tayson, 4ZR, Nate could take height, they could move from third place and close the gap that the first and second place team are. You talked about it, Shio, 50 points, but Badil gets a knock on Joe. So Badil and Noah Riley are making the move right now as Tayson's going to the front side of the storm here just to make sure that they get as much placement as possible. We're getting closer and closer to the top 10 situation. Kinzel, Wake, and iDrop have the advantage here, but now we're taking a look at who has the advantage on the low ground. It's Andalex. We talk about the veteran trio. You do not want to see controlling the low ground, but now we focus here back to third place. Shio, Ken Tayson right here, the ultimate solo star, find the impact frags. I think he got that one, maybe, we'll see. But Tayson, yes, he does, and that was on the deal.
Wraps up the deal, one of the other top teams in fifth place rolling in. Tayson is trying to big that gap all the way from third to fifth place and catch up to first. He's looking possibly for a height retake too. Surveying the area. Meanwhile, Marine down in the feed. Wolfie's going away too. That entire squad is getting taken away. He's done the analysis. I feel like the team might be going for it in just a second. They have a little bit of those materials, but no. Kinzel, Wakey, and iDrop are way too high. We're going straight to the ocean as well. Low ground's going to be a little bit of trouble. They have to build a little bit more on the floors. Tayson is getting close and personal to that low ground as well. Building all the way left and right. Shaco's going down in the feed. Snazy on low ground also gets taken out by Nate. This squad is active. They're looking for box-to-box fights, and they're winning them all.
They need all these points right here. A 50-point gap going into it, like I said before. And if they get this, Tayson now is in trouble. 5 HP. He's going to have to move on out, but I think Tayson was able to survive that pressure here. Tayson, 4ZR, now getting pressure from height. Tayson down to a sliver of health here. 6 eliminations from Nate. The former FNCS champion goes down in a flash so quickly. Now it's 4ZR here. He's in the back of the storm. 4ZR holding on. 19 HP, and he goes down as well. This is going to be a victory royale for Wakey, Kinzel, and iDrop here. And Clement, old names, old guard here on the line. Clement dapping into the water here, holding on as much as possible. But iDrop, Wakey, and Kinzel, too much to handle, too hot to hold. 7 eliminations and the victory royale. That's big for them. They were 16th place. They could get up closer. We talked about all it takes, 2 games, 2 pop-off games. You get a lot of movement on that board, Shio.
That was definitely a catch-up game, though, for the majority of the server, right? A lot of those top teams going down early, even 4ZR not being able to go all the way to the end for the victory royale. I'm wondering how that shakeup looks. What does the catch-up look like? We have to toss it over to the desk to see exactly how that game's results throw down.
Boys, we're in the back just screaming our heads off. All right, we're just yelling as all of this is happening. Trios falling left and right. This is absolutely insane. Now, we'll take a look at the standings in just a little bit, but this was game number 5 on the day, 11 of the overall tournament finals here in Europe. Gentlemen, at this point, it's a battle between first and second. Everyone else is playing for third. And when we're looking at these like spots, we're talking about a large amount of prize money, okay? And all these trios, they're looking to climb as high as they can to walk away with more of that pie. Reese, Levin, this game is way too tight right now.
Look, you said it's a battle for first and second, but it almost was a battle for first and second. This was a full southwest zone. It looked like Queasy completely had it in them. This is basically the worst possible zone for Savage's team, pulling all the way from Steamy Stacks all the way to max distance map. We saw it not work out for them, but at the same time, it looked like it was going to be Queasy's zone. As soon as that fifth zone pops, they're situated on height. No way to build over. They can't do their signature height play, and it all falls apart on the rotate. So both of our top two teams eliminated early in this game, which means that we saw 4ZR. We were watching 4ZR tasting and Nate through that entire end game. I think that was a third for them there with, I think, 7 eliminations, which is a ton of points, which means it was a battle for top two. But I think with that game, those guys are going to move all the way up. And now it seems to be a 3-way battle for first coming into the final match.
Yeah. I wanted to come out and say, look, the top two teams made their lives a bit harder coming into that last game, but it's really unlucky, right? In the case of Savage's share, where you have the max distance zone. It's not even a max distance zone, the max distance zone for that team. And even in Queasy and Trulex's case, they don't pull 50-50. That height difference, it just wasn't going to happen, right? They just weren't going to get height there. And so you saw they were posturing for it, right? You know what they want to do, but they just couldn't execute it. And so going into this last game now, it's a 3-horse race. And what a race is it? What a race. Like, this is going to be crazy. Ultimately, one of these 3 teams is going to be in the sort of closing moments of that game. And that's probably going to be the team that takes it. And so what happens now if there's all 3 of those teams in that situation? Like, then things just get...
We have a good game.
We're getting all different levels of crazy right now in the final game.
This is absolutely insane. We'll take a look at these standings in just a second. First, we got to talk about our top 3 going into that last game. This battle at the top. We got to highlight the 3 trios that are closest to the Axe of Champions.
We literally just talked about these teams as already. We set this up saying, let's go the top 3 teams coming in. I think they're still the top 3 teams in contention right now. 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate had a good first day, but not anything amazing. They were 4th coming out of that first day. Now they're in 3rd, so moved up a single point, maybe even pushed their way up the leaderboards a little bit more. But Rescard, Savage, and Drea, after the first day, they were in 1st. It was all looking really, really good up until that, what was that, game number 10, where they started to get overtaken then. And then here we go, 11 games deep. They've kind of moved down a little bit. The gap seems to be changing a little bit more. This is one of the best 3-way races coming into the finals that we've seen in a long time. This is so tense.
Yeah, and you look at Queasy and Trulex, both incredibly experienced players. Juriki, this is only his 2nd time playing in an FNCS finals. Is the pressure going to get to him coming into that final game? He tweeted out just before the last game, we need to focus now. And so is this going to be the opportunity for them to close things out and win their first ever FNCS championships collectively? First team to break 300 points, 308 points, sitting on top of that standings. Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki, they need to hold on going into this last game. Refs God and Dre and Mr. Savage, even though they didn't get the game they wanted, they're still sitting there in 2nd. And, the gap is reachable between them and Queasy. And so now, even with Tayson, 4ZR, and Nate coming into this race, it is still a very difficult one to win.
Look, here's what I'm going to lay out for you. The worst game that Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki have had so far has been 10 points. So let's assume that's the same again. That puts them on 318, which means that Rescard, Andrea, and Savage, 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate will need to win the game, and Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki will need to have one of the worst or equally worst games they've had throughout today when they are extremely consistent already, which is very, very unlikely in order for them to win. Watching Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki's early and mid game is going to be so critical, because if they go down early, it's an absolute open field for any other 2. Potentially, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Reason Vidil Noah Riley. If they win with a huge elimination game, which we've already seen them do, and the top 3 don't perform, which again is possible, they could potentially get in there too, but they could also get up into top 3.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? We are all focusing on who's going to be the one to clinch first place coming into this last game. But of course, there are still stakes that need to be set in terms of looking at who can get top 3. You want to auto qualify, right? So all those teams that, I feel bad for Sancho and Shire in a way, because they're going to have to keep a track of everything and let us know what's going on, because there is going to be so much riding on this final end game. Like, I just want to sit back now and just enjoy the action.
Listen, I just checked, okay? Queasy has just tweeted, "This decides it all. Good luck to all." Juriki, good luck, everyone. Good luck. They are aware. This is confidence coming into this game. Will they take it home? Will they be dethroned? We're about to find out, Fortnite fam. One final game in Europe. Sancho West, Shire Wager. Bring us home, boys.
3 teams, 1 dream, and the best reason to do it in, it's Europe. The last game, Sancho West, is on the line, and we're going straight in with Savage, Refsguard, and Andretta. Second place, about 20, almost 30 points behind. Can they do it? Can they catch up to first place and triumph in the final game of EU?
There's only 4 words that can capture this moment. Good luck and have fun. This is the final game of the FNCS EU region. Will we have a new FNCS champion, or will Hen, Genesis, and Chapix, I don't know, do the astronomical performance? But all eyes are on our top 3. Queasy, Refsguard, and Tayson all have a chance to win. And it all went down to the final moments last season. Will we get a repeat finish?
They have been the most consistent all throughout the day. You can see the stat on screen. The thing is, though, it's not about consistency anymore. They're on the catch-up. They're playing defense. A majority of this tournament, we're sitting very, very chill in that first place spot. Now at second, they need to actually be proactive this game. They can't just stay waiting on low ground. Maybe play for height. Depending on where the zone goes to, that'll be huge. You know what happens in the final games of the day on EU. We end up in the mountains. We end up in the sea. It gets crazy. Meanwhile, though, regardless of all of that, Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky, first place. So good throughout the whole day. Reset it best just to show you how dominant these guys are. Their worst game, Sancho, they get 10 points. You have to count on this team to have a good game no matter what. And every team right now in the lobby is preying on their downfall.
Essentially, their worst has been a lot of trios' best. They have a 24-point lead right now. If you want to keep tabs on it, you want to do the work with us, you want to do the math. Trulix's trio is at 155 for the session. That means for the day. You're looking at Andretta's trio still locked in at 118. Third place right now is 118 as well. So you're looking about 24 points difference between first and second. Third place right now is at an 11-point difference between third and second. Good luck doing math.
And in this final game, we pulled up an extra chair at the table. There are 3 teams neck and neck, close by, looking for that top tier first place spot. The champions of Europe, the before ZR, Tayson, and Nate rolling in 273 points throughout both days. They're also very, very close, but have to do so much and hope that Queasy, Jerky, and Trulex trip over themselves trying to clinch this last game.
Let's take a look at the Zone 1 that's been revealed. If you're sitting out there and you're a Queasy fan, they're on the bottom left of your screen, and they have to go through all of those South rotator players that are all out there that have been just clawing. They've been bruising a lot of people, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on as they make that treacherous rotation. And Shio, Savage, Resguard, and Dretta, this is really close. This is a very winnable situation considering Zone 1 pulled their way. Last zone went all the way across the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to them, but neither team really pull the zone into their domain. Everyone's gonna have to move a little bit, especially for ZR all the way at Sweaty Stands. Even Steamy Stacks, you see that white line? They have to eventually end up leaving this POI. They're on a timer, and they have to make sure their game is efficient.
We cannot forget fourth place, the deal, Noah, Riley, and Reason, making a return back into the top 3. That's the only new team that are within the striking distance, within being that auto qualification as well. And what a phenomenal performance from them, no matter what. It let them know that they could change their playstyle if for some reason the placement points or elimination points changes. They know they could be aggressive, they could be that buzzsaw. But this is what's been so impressive throughout the day is Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky. We've been playing height aggressively, and who knows, imagine Imagine if day one they were able to get those victory royales when they had height, how much of a runaway performance this would be for season 6.
Yeah, I have it down in my notes. This team was literally supposed to win on day one. The positions they were in, you're absolutely correct. Like, they literally were dominant and no team could, in theory, really catch them. In reality, though, they definitely did get caught. Going back, though, watching the VODs, making sure everything, all the mistakes were fine. They came in into day 2, the fresh mindset, and now they have a huge lead on many teams. All they have to do this game is survive.
We already talked about a lot of numbers, but let me throw you the big numbers that's happening here. But let me put a pause on that as our defending FNCS champions are in trouble. Lanouf's trio here has put so much pressure on them. Now that Janice is in a defensive stance here, Lanouf does get hit. It is cracked right now, and that might be just enough to kind of slow down this push that's happening from Slicks, Marine, and Lunef.
Gonna be trying to go all the way in. At the same time, every team right now, they might not be holding anything back. In the last game, you might need a lot of eliminations to go a little bit higher. And the prize thresholds there are for the entire tournament we're watching so far, for the whole finals, for Janice and Chapix, it might not be possible for them to level up the whole way and get top 3. They're about, I would say, 40 points behind. So they definitely would need the win. High Chris is here, still chasing them. They disengaged over and over again yesterday. And, you know, both teams have to play their games out. If this is the first time you're tuning in for the day watching, Hen's team, we're watching on screen right now, Under the Bridge, has been contesting High Chris's team for all 12 games. They're trying to run away too, just to play this one out. High Chris does not care. They're coming through, chasing all the way. They're trying to have this fight towards the very end.
This is so heartbreaking to watch Hen, Chapik, and Janice. Chapik's tweeted out that he has never been contestant since squads. And we're just seeing them right now. The defending champions. Not a lot of room to breathe. They essentially need a double-digit elim and a victory royale, and a lot of other teams ahead of them to go down, but I'm not seeing it. As much as I would love to root for a repeat, the repeat is looking like it's in shambles.
Entire tournament hanging by a thread, no shields to kind of protect them either. They have to do this absolutely raw. Vortex jumping all the way in. Hen gets taken out. Chapix 1 HP. Both these teams, both these players have such a history throughout these entire finals. And although Janice, Chapix, and Hen have been winning off spawn entirely, it might just be High Chris who gets the last laugh. Janice on his wall. Champions fall. Their run so far for the top 3 is over. Phenomenal, though. Contested for 12 games. They had a very good showing and will end somewhere within the top 10 or 15 at the end of the finals.
It's just something that when it comes down to this moment, this is what it is all about. FNCS, we still have 3 teams that are just separated by a victory royale. Payson, 4ZR, and Nate. As a team, they're in 3rd place. Only 11 points behind. Again, 118. Keep an eye on that number. It needs to be added by 11 more points, and they're tied for 2nd place. Of course, that's all going to come down to tiebreakers and things of that sort, but this is why I'm casting and I'm not an admin. Right now, we're all eyes right here. Focus. Everyone gather around. We're getting into the final moments of Game 12 here. And you may think, Sancho, this game just started. This feels like the finality of it. You know what I mean? This is it.
It is. It is. It's the last game. Jerky, Queasy, Trulex, 1st place. And with the champions from last season gone, it's like we're at the coronation for this team so far. If it was a movie, right, there could be a possibility of hijinks happening at the ceremony. People are still in contention, the top 2 teams, to interrupt. But once again, for these guys to lose their 1st place slot, they would have to go down before kind of the 8th or 9th zone. I don't see that happening, especially from this spot. There's no teams near them. No bow shots really hitting this big Guardian outpost. There's no chance that these guys flip up right now. As the game goes on, it will get scarier. Here's the team that wants to make it happen. Savage, Andretta, Refsguard, once again, 2nd place. They need to catch up. They need to win this game.
I was mentioning big numbers before. Let me hit you with those numbers right now. 1st place, $300,000. 2nd place, $210,000. 3rd place, $135,000. That's what's at stake here between the three. Not only that Acts of Champions, not only be able to put that social media post, not only to be able to make that video that's going to get thousands and thousands of views and your clout's going to go up because everyone's going to call you a champion. It's all about that life-changing money as well. And then you go down 4th and 5th, 6th, still thousands of dollars. That top 10 is going to be a threshold that you want to break, because if you break that top 10, Shayo, that's going to be $10,000 a piece.
You want to make sure you can catch up. The other thing on the line as well for every team behind the one on screen right now, Tayson, ForZR, and Nate, basically everyone from 4th place below. You hit top 3 this FNCS, you're automatically invited to the next one to be inside the finals as well. So Tayson, ForZR, and Nate have their own gate to keep while they try to get further and further up inside the top 3. They have to make sure they don't go down and they get an auto qual all the way. You saw how rough it was for their season. All the qual weeks, issues, errors, in heats as well. They kind of fixed it up, but they had trouble getting all the way here. They look amazing today, amazing right now, but they don't want to repeat the process.
Still, other teams that are in this match have a lot to play for themselves. We cannot forget about that all-star game that will happen later on. The top 15 will be able to get into that match.
We're looking for big qualifications on all sides. Queasy, Jerky, Trulex in a little bit of trouble right now. These are the spots that you can't make mistakes at. And these are also the places where every other team who was playing normally might be slightly hungrier, understanding that, hey, we might need to get the top 10. I want to get to the upper portions of prizing. I might have to push the team in front of me that I usually would in Sun and Jules, a passive team. Might make that choice, but no, with this defensive base, Queasy, Jerky, and Trulex will be fine. They're used to being free though. They like walking around. That's not going to be the case right now. And on Surge as well, they're just 18 damage above.
Yeah, yes, exactly what I was going to point out. Look at it. Both people that are in the top 3, just above Surge, and 10 players have to go down here very soon in the next zone. So every shot's mattering. They're going to have to get this important tags. Revsguard in the bottom right of your screen, armed with an infantry rifle. Doesn't get any connections, but look at the zone, Shayo. Zone 2 is going to be another mountain finish.
Can't get nervous here on the Surge. I know it's just 18. It's half a tag. It looks drastic, but patience is key. Everyone else should be a lot more nervous and more desperate to push for shots. Queasy always hits these, but no, doesn't get a single bullet on the head. People all the way up top, Stompy, Shadow, and
32.
Joe, and Lazy Lakes. 19 above now.
Oh,
it's looking fine. Everyone should be edging more towards looking for box fights, looking to really just push their game to the absolute limit. Trulex, Queasy, Jerky, different circumstances. They're feeling fine. Pizza Ardent, kind of desperate. Reason is right here with Vidil and Noah Riley. They're looking right beside Tayson, actually overtake them and get into the top 3. They're in 4th place currently. Tayson has to defend this right now inside the same POI. They're 192 damage below. They need to go for a fight. They're pushing for it. Ardent inside this building, but no, Tayson is moving with no protection all the way up the side of this ramp, and he gets beamed down, has to heal all the way up, and 21 damage above. The outreach was worth it, but they're still not off scot-free.
The monster that's underneath the bed of Tayson's dreams of a 3-time FNCS championship is now haunting them and giving them some nightmares, because look, they're only 9 above, and throughout the entire tournament we've seen Storm Surge being the bullseye, the target, and so many trios right now are looking for those easy eliminations to get them those thousands of dollars as they creep up more and more on the leaderboard. A lot to play for everybody else on the field.
They can't true up a Surge now. The entire run they've had this season, it's been Surge issues every single time. There's no way in this game, the finale, will they just trip up for now? Yeah, they go all the way up, build the bases, 86 damage above. It's looking good. And now with 69 players alive, Surge will stop still. They're not kings of their spot right now. Joe, Stompy, and Shadow can have better peaks right below them. Fast Roki and Ardent will look to cause trouble. Meanwhile, Trulex, Jerky trapped beside a river in a shed. They finally broke free and are moving on their way to an empty zone where no one's really claimed that much ground. This could be huge. Get them into a spot to survive and not really have a team interrupt them. Wow, Jerky, a big bow shot to get Surge. Remember, they were barely up on it. Another one. This is so huge for Jerky. They don't have to make as many edits now. They're going to be relaxing for the moment too. The issue is they've bullied 2 teams on mountains and caught their attention. One of them being team that might be looking at them stop their run, Savage and Dread or Refscar.
This is like one of those things right there is you're seeing that they're used to being really chill on Surge. They can make those kind of aggressive plays for height, but when you have that Surge parasite weighing you down, that anchor, you're not going to be as free to crank up to height. Those 90s just become a little bit heavier. In fact, Shio, everything is heavier right now. Every edit, I bet you their mouse or controller, whatever input they're playing on, just feels a little bit more heavier. It's like a 5-pound weight sitting on it.
Definitely a lot of pressure. Nate 4ZR Tayson, though, no strangers to it. We know how decorated Tayson is. We know the prowess of Nate and 4ZR too. Popping off, whether it's duos for Nate, whether it's the trio prowess of 4ZR as well. Tayson's so good in every mode too. These guys can definitely do it, but once again, they're the team that the majority of players in this lobby are looking to take out. I know first and second are having their own battle, but for third, they are on the line. Fast Roki beats the Ardent above them, want to break in. Andalex in 8th place wants to roll through. Kiriachi right below them in 5th. They're trying to get through too. They had a chance to meet up with Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. They're right below them in 4th place. Meanwhile, in 2nd, Savage, Rustguard, and Dreda looking at the server, trying to pinpoint where that first place team is, or just trying to get tags.
They're looking good though. Center zone and everybody that's in the top 3, everybody in the lobby that's still alive has been doled out 5 points. So that's why they went from 118 to 123. So far, no movement yet in the top 3. No one's gaining ground. No one's lost ground right now between Andretta's trio, 4ZR, and Queasy. All looking good. The only thing that I'm really concerned is this right here. What does the Storm Surge look at? We saw 2 big bow shots, putting them at 85, putting 160 into that HP bankroll. But is that going to be enough for them to last? Are they going to have enough financial Storm Surge to be able to withstand all this pressure that's happening right here, right now?
Talk about pressure. This is a very similar position we saw, I believe, Anas, Thomas, HD, and Flick at last game. A team focuses you while you can't really move between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th zones. You start running out of your materials completely. Fast Roki's not letting this one go. They're dropping down all their ammo into this position. They ran out of shields above them. They ran out of gas. They ran out of mats completely. And it looks like they're looking to all in Nate 4ZR and Tayson below before this storm starts to move.
We're seeing that a knock went through for Reason. Now they're at 169 for this session here. They closed the gap just a little bit. They're still 17 points behind 3rd place.
Anas, Thomas, HD are also used to winning at least one game, I feel like, inside these finals, having a big pop off, and they haven't done it yet. They could steal away the VR. They're still alive and looking really healthy. Meanwhile, Savage, wide open edit. Good job closing it after all that pressure. I was expecting a bow shot to come in. That would not be good for just the inventory management and loadout. Joe Stompy are still all the way up on their high ground position from Lazy Lake. They're looking to dominate this game. They did one yesterday, but once again, they're looking for repeat performances, trying to get up in the prizing thresholds. Oh no, 4ZR down. That's what I was talking about. Fast Roki did not want them to get away for free. Nate now stuck behind the wall. It's not his. He can't edit it. Pizza looking for the big shots, but he goes down to Storm, and a lot of shots inside the circle as well. Nate, as a result, getting the Elam or not, will fall privy to them too. Tayson will have to leave him behind, and look who they're going to be running into. Reason, Vidil, Noah Riley. He's caught their attention. The 4th place team right below them might be the ones to take him out, but he might be actually affecting them in moving by. I think, yes.
Oh my!
He picked up Vidil, got the Elam too. 4th place now in shambles. 3rd place just has one teammate left over. Tayson is not going to go out without a big bang. He's looking for the big shots. Reason is going to be taken down on shields. Zone, 17 seconds. Still moving in. They're really desperate. They pushed up on these builds to move forward. But they're still not in zone. This is trouble.
Tayson, the 2-time FNCS champion, a trio champion, and a solo champion, is going to make his way to hold on as much as possible. A lot of ground to move on through to make sure they could get closer to the top here. But we're seeing there still are 2 places here of Refsguard's trio and Queasy's trio are still in, and we saw Savage was able to get a couple eliminations. Reason and O'Reilly, who are sitting in 4th place, who've been moving up the board slowly but surely here, now have to continue the rest of it. And Tayson is out, locked in 3rd place. But we already know there's going to be a lot of movement because there's a lot more game here in the final 12th game, Shio.
Savage still acting like a frilled neck lizard right now, really puffing out his chest and looking for big positions all the way inside the circle. Every team right now is doing their best to be intimidating and make sure no other team steps to them or gets in their box. Meanwhile, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, the first place trio is not on that wavelength. They're more so operating like a jack in the box. Low ground, being very low key. They don't want to make any over edits. They're hiding from the rest of the lobby. Meanwhile, when that game actually goes through, we get towards the end game, you'll see them pop out. A big scary trio who loves to go for height. They'll still be on their game. There they are, side by side, first and second place with a very different play style. And with a full metal base, basically a submarine base, it looks like, all the way on low ground. No one's going to be penetrating it whatsoever. No shots will really come through. They'll be fine all the way till end game.
Let me just make things simpler right now. I know all of us are trying to do math, but Queasy, if they could just outplay Andretta, then they're going to be able to have a great chance of winning it all. It's basically a victory royale for Andretta. That is the win condition for the FNCS championship.
This is a two trios race. You're absolutely right. Whoever survives longer wins this FNCS, as long as they get to one of those end game circles. So we're on our marks. We're getting set and ready. In 3 seconds, we'll have the zone and we'll be ready to go. Toos, Kiriachi, Stormy right, Noah Riley up top. You know, but Noah Riley, Reason of a Deal are on height. They're so good at just punishing every low ground team. This could be trouble for Savage and Queasy as well. None of them looking to take height, really. They're looking to survive. Same place, same boxes, and they both don't really pull zone completely. It's a pseudo max rotate, and they might be right beside each other.
Savage, the in-game leader for this situations right here. His prowess, his clutch factor is all on the line. He has to lead Refsguard and Andretta. Savage joining this duo to form this new trio that's performing out of their minds right now. Only 13 above Storm Surge, so that's going to be dangerous for them.
They're following the old tarp of Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're actually box to box, side by side, it feels like, and right behind their tails, they actually end up on different layers. That could have been so dangerous out ahead of them. Breaking into another person's box, so they might go toe-to-toe with Andalex on low ground. I'm focusing on the bottom right now for Savage. Queasy is way ahead of zone. They're looking really good right now. Savage, meanwhile, is walking by, burning trees, a forest set ablaze, and working through builds that aren't even his own. This is not normal. He likes having his own lair. They found ultimate low ground, though. They're free, green pastures, and they're moving forward. Meanwhile, Queasy is slightly elevated up top. It's a battle of who can survive. They put out some fire, but the rest of the builds catch. Savage's feet are hot. He goes all the way back, and it's time for a med kit. Meanwhile, Queasy going all the way a little bit for height, gets interrupted and dropped down below. Both teams trying to survive, both in so many different layers of pressure.
Queasy trying to go back to his playbook to go for height, but was denied by Flick Anas and Thomas HT. All eyes are on the right side of the screen. Let's see what happens right here. Savage is in trouble. Savage is down to 7 HP without any shield here. This is going to be a moment right now for the tournament. Run is on their lives right now. Can Queasy, Jerky, and Trulix just hold on? But look at the push that's happening on the bottom right. Savage, the trio, picks up elimination, and they have so much space control right now. They're pushing through the builds. They're getting the E-limbs right now. But can Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky just hold on? That's all they have to do.
Queasy, Trulex, Jerky moving slower and lower in boxes. Find a big edit onto the Symptos. They get a huge knock. This will be dangerous to try to finish, though. Every edit they look for could be on the front of a pump shotgun going straight to the face. Queasy backs up. The full trio still alive, still healthy, and have a reasonable amount of materials. Savage, though, hot the met kit. He's looking good all the way on the bottom right side of your screen. Anas, Thomas, Flick are still doing their thing on high ground. They're not over and ready to give things up completely this FNCS. And Andretta has gone down on the bottom right side of the feed. Second place might be getting left behind in the dust and fire as Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are looking to control low.
They're right on the same layer at the low ground, just a small layer separating. Savage and Refsguard as a duo have to work together against Jerky and Trulix. A knock goes through on Queasy, getting Clement. That's going to be more points on the board right here. It's unbelievable. First and second here on the low ground, and Savage takes out Trulix. This may be the opening that they need to be able to catch up right now. Queasy and Jerky are still on their feet, and Queasy's in trouble. Queasy's going to be taken out, and now Savage and Refsguard with 6 eliminations and the victory royale in their sights could win it all right here, right now.
I don't see Trulex fully out just yet, so that first team might still be in the way. Jerky going down towards the storm. It looks like I don't see Savage alive either. It could be a matter of just moments and mere points right there, but it seems as though Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky have done enough to wrap up the FNCS. It might be a matter of moments, but they should be your champions. Meanwhile, Thomas, Anas, and Flick They'll roll into the end game. You can never count them out when you talk about EU. Slated to win everything. They'll be on defense with Hottie, but Anas goes down, almost close to Thomas HD. Both teammates down. It's up to Thomas to clutch things out in the final game. 2 final teams left, but it's looking like almost, yes, a 1v3. The impossible task is in front of Thomas HD. This is going to require everything he's done so far, all the experience. 130 drop down, block the shot, another flick on the right, but it's not going to be enough. Thomas gets taken down, and Andon and Joku are the ones to win the final game. But that 2-legged race, the 2-man 3v3 that happened in the end game, Sancho, looks like Trulex came out on top.
Wow, what a great finish for our 12th game. Congratulations to Andon for getting that victory royale with that trio there. You can definitely build on that performance. But hey, the soda's gonna be popping right here, right now for Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky. Congratulations, you are this season's FNCS champion.
Absolutely. What a phenomenal run on both days. The first day looking like they should have won the way they were playing. They couldn't confirm anything. They had their card in the register, just couldn't pay the cash. This time, though, they're getting paid in hundreds and thousands of dollars, winning out the day, 3 VRs, the second game surviving all the way through, 333 points. I guess lucky number 3 is the way for this trio season for this squad, Sancho.
That was really cool. This is a newly formed trio. You know, they kind of had middle of the pack performances in previous seasons, and for them to put it all together when it matters the most in day 2, making those adjustments. You said it right there. $300,000 being rewarded, $100,000 life-changing money and respect from the FNCS community.
Absolutely. That's it, though, from Shio Wager and Sancho West on the casting desk. 2 days of games, Sancho, the craziest zones we've seen in the EU. I wouldn't want to cast it with anyone else.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to production. Let's go ahead and kick it to the boys out in the analyst desk.
Shy Wager, Sancho West, thank you guys. Absolutely incredible job. Boys, all of the threes are right. I was actually trying to run it. There was 5 threes. They have 53 eliminations. They're a trio, which is 3. There's 3 open qualifier rounds. There's 3 reboot rounds. There's 3 active champions. Wait a minute, it's all lining up. Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, they won. They won it all. And all I could think about the whole time was, what if Savage clutches it up? What if Sancho West's prediction came true? But it didn't matter. Because Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, they said, no, Zeke. I'm sorry. I love you and Sancho West so much, but we would like the Axe of Champions this season, and they walk away with it. Oh my gosh, boys, what an incredible day.
There has been absolutely no doubt in my mind that this team has been one of the best, and the best, on the day. Anytime you watch an endgame, Queasy, Jerky, Trulex have been there. You see them on height, you see them not on height, nearing height, whatever their strategy has been, these guys have always been in the play. When we're looking at the matches, I am in no way surprised to see these guys up in first. 3 victory royales total, and this is just about time for Queasy's team.
I'm so incredibly proud of them. You know, you look at the journey all 3 of these players has been on. Queasy and Trulex as a duo, you know, they've lasted a test of time in EU. We've known them to be a top team within the region consistently season after season, but they just couldn't push it over the line. They couldn't join that list of the elite within the region, and they finally have done that today. Juriki as well, the pride of Croatia, has come through, and he's really been the spark for this trio. He's been the Kickstarter that's helped them push them over the line, and the FNCS Championship to round things up. Look at how consistent they've been over the course of the season. Across all qualifiers they've played, across the semi-finals and these finals, an average placement of 7.5. No one even comes close to that in EU. These guys have just been so consistent to a different level.
Just remember, I want to harp on about that a little bit, because qualifiers, semifinals, and now on the finals, their average placement was 7.5. That is incredibly consistent. That is the most consistent team today in the finals for the placement, but incredible how that manages to span across so many different tournaments, so many different stages of all of these different kind of moments. Incredible consistency from these guys, and these guys have been absolutely on fire. Note at the bottom, lowest points game, 10. Their lowest point game, I said this earlier, was 10. But that wasn't only just today in the finals. The lowest point they got was 10, but that was included to the semi-finals and to the qualifiers as well. So just absolutely nuts. These guys are clutching every single game that they managed to.
And it's so, you know, you love to see the stories that you get out of it. And Fortnite is a game we all enjoy to play. It provides for such levels of hype and entertainment. But, you know, when you see Juriki talking about you know, family matters and wanting to win everything to provide for his family, to help get his family out of hard times. It touches the heart, really. And I'm so happy for these guys. I'm so proud of them, because this is a great achievement that will never be forgotten.
Look, we're happy, we're proud, but I guarantee he's proud, his teammates are proud, his family is proud, and that can go on for every single one of the members of these team. This is a huge accomplishment. The champions of the region, also obviously the money to their name, which is fantastic, and of course the Axe of Champions. It probably could not have gone to a more deserving team in this season from Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki.
Once again, congratulations to the new Trios champions in Europe. Well fought, an entire season, and now you can hold your heads high. With the Axe of Champions in hand, they will look to defend that title going into the next FNCS. We got to relive the BRs from the day, boys. There's standings we got to look at. There's all these things we got to talk through, because it has been a nail-biter, heart-stopping action, heart-pounding action. I can't even I'm trying to process this in the moment, but I can't, Reese 11. I just can't. But we got to take a look here at this next little bit. My goodness.
You got to remember,
wow.
it was a battle, right? All the way down to the end. Obviously, we see Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki. Number one, 333 points, $300,000 earned for the team split each way. 100,000 each. I'm certainly not complaining if I were them. Let's put it that way. But going into the final game, it was all between Resguard and Dread and Savage. They had the ability to clutch up. You know, it looked like it could have been their time as well, but a second. So just falling a little bit short. But again, you can't be upset with a second place finish. This is incredible. And they played out of their minds throughout the last 2 days. They were in first for pretty much the majority up until the last two games. So really, Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki just took away with it.
Yeah, and that the third team that will auto qualify for next season's FNCS finals is Tayson, Forziar, and Nate. And look, of course, all the attention right now is going to be going to the winner, but it's very important to note that this is Forziar and Nate's first FNCS finals in over 2 seasons. The past 2 seasons of trios, they've missed the finals. And look what we've been missing out on. We've been missing out on 2 of the best players in the game, 2 players who in particular will get results like this. Top 3 in FNCS, not too shabby if you ask me. And Tayson, renowned as the best player in the world, the first player in EU to win a back-to-back FNCS. Paired with these guys, I cannot wait to see what they do next season. A phenomenal result. If you take a look at the rest of the standings, though, as well, a lot of these players will want to, say, oh, we wish we could have done better. But at the end of the day, a great result for a lot of these guys. They should all be proud of themselves. And Reese, we keep going on about it, but financially, getting a piece of the cheddar ain't too bad.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of Wonga for placing in between the 11th and 20th. And, you know, I say this, I think, multiple times during the broadcast. If you're a team who's placed between the 11th till the 20th, you know what? You guys have performed incredibly well to even get here to this stage, performing through the qualifiers, performing through the semifinals, and now making it here today. And I don't want to see these teams on this page splitting up by any means. I want to see them improve, fix their mistakes. There's so much potential here from all of these teams that you've seen. You know what? It didn't work out across this weekend, across the 2 days, but it 100% can if they fix that across the next season.
Yeah, 100%. And let's take a look at the way this day started. We have some highlights for you. You know, so many of the best players, right? Coming into this weekend, we were saying this is the most stacked FNCS finals we've ever had, and it provided for all the entertainment you could have possibly wanted. You know, all the stories, all the action. You know, it's almost overwhelming, Reese, you know, trying to think back to everything that's happened this weekend.
Yeah, you know, obviously the battle that we saw right at the start there between all the way up in Craggy Cliffs, right? You know, we saw it going on between High Chris's team. We saw it between our ex-FNCS champions. Now, it does feel sad to say that between Het and Janus Champix, and it really seemed like on that first day, like they had the power and they were able to kind of clutch up and do it. Same again with Resin's team. Resin, Noah, and Vadil, man, they started so strong on this second day here, and it looked like there was a potential for them to make it all the way up into that top 3. Didn't end up happening for them, unfortunately, but they looked so strong today.
Yeah, 100%. They were one of the strongest teams, and it's fair to say, as much as they weren't able to be the best team across the 2 days of competition, they were the second best team today. If you were to just get the points from today's games, they were the second best team. But that best team, Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki, to win the amount of games they won, 3 victory royales across the weekend, you know, the victory is deserved. These guys were absolutely phenomenal to watch. There's not much, players who can say they can play at such a high level in Fortnite, period, across any region. These guys are at the top of the iceberg, and I think the sky is the limit for them, right? They've already won an FNCS, but moving forward, you could definitely see them winning another because they have just been insane.
Yeah, and I think what was so interesting to watch about them is we watched a team who was so tunnel visioned on high ground, so tunnel visioned, but in a positive way. Usually we see teams who are just trying to chop out, trying to cycle height, use peppers, whatever they can to get that high ground in like kind of fifth zone, fourth, whatever it is earlier on. But this team has done it like I've never seen any team execute high ground as efficiently in my life. In watching many seasons, many regions, these guys just kept getting it. And whatever the situation was either, because if they had it early, cool, they maintained it. If they didn't have it, they always managed to grab it late. It's just, if you want to watch how to play high ground, go back in the VODs and look at how these guys play it. Incredible high play.
Man, an absolutely insane season. Chapter 2, Season 6 now comes to a close for Europe. As always, Fortnite fam, we love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Follow ShyWager, Sancho West, Reese11. These guys pour everything they have into the broadcast. Now, before we say our final goodbyes, how about a little bit teaser of what's next to come? How about an all-star event? Now, I know you got a lot of questions, but don't worry. We'll be posting things to our social media, more information, so keep your eyes locked on there, and I'm going to have to answer their questions now after that. Well, don't forget, guys, we're going over to NA East and NA West for more Fortnite action. But if not, then we'll see you on June 23rd. Until next time, Fortnite fam, we love you, and we'll see you on the battle bus.
Beep, beep.